What if I told you there's a way to make your websites look perfect on any screen without losing your sanity managing breakpoints by making this one small change? Quick question. How many different screen sizes are there for viewing websites? Yeah, I didn't know either, so I tried to find out. Google couldn't tell me. Bing just shrugged. DuckDuckGo ducked the question. I even did several AI searches and they all said the same thing. So how can you possibly design for all of them? I've learned a few things over the 10 plus years creating responsive websites. Today I'm sharing my approach to building truly fluid websites that adapt perfectly to any screen size. And here's the interesting part. This approach is actually easier than what most designers are currently doing. Let me walk you through the evolution of responsive design. In the early 2000s, web design was fixed width at 960 pixels. Remember those? Then in 2010, Ethan Marcotte introduced the concept of responsive web design. From 2010 to 2020, breakpoint-based design becomes the standard, which honestly felt like playing digital Jenga. Adjust one screen size and two others fall out of place. And in 2020, fluid responsive design emerged. Let's talk about breakpoints first. They're like invisible lines in the sand where your design needs to adapt. The industry standardized them at one point for 3 sizes. But I don't think devices got this memo. Today, they're out there at 884 pixels, 402 pixels, or whatever size manufacturers decide to use. And here's what experienced designers know. The biggest problems happen between breakpoints. That's where users see erratic spacing, text that's too large or too small, and elements that don't quite fit. What if we could design like water, adapting perfectly to any container? This is where modern design thinking comes in. After years of fighting with breakpoints, experienced designers have discovered a better approach. The secret? Fluid design, also referred to as clamp. No, wrong clamp. This one's for holding things still. We want our designs to move. Though I am wondering if this type of clamp might somehow be useful for clients who can't stop tweaking the layouts. Okay, so fluid design is about creating relationships between elements rather than fixed sizes. Just like a school of fish swimming together, elements maintain their relative positions, adjusting and flowing in harmony as the environment changes. Look at the difference with a text and background image example. Traditional approach, abrupt jumps, which means awkward in-between states. Fluid approach, smooth transitions, which means the elements are always the correct size for all screen sizes. You can see when I resize the screen width for this preview how the size of the text adjusts based on the width of the screen. The principle is simple but powerful. Set a minimum size so things never get too small. Set a maximum size so things never get too large. Let everything flow naturally between these boundaries. I've set this to display in pixels, but you should be using rem for text size. When a user adjusts their text size in their browser settings, rem values will scale right along with it. Pixels, not so much. It's a small tweak, but it makes a huge difference for accessibility. So which method should you actually use in your projects? Let me share what I've learned about balancing these approaches. Here's the part most tutorials won't tell you. It's not about choosing one approach or the other. It's about knowing when to use each technique. For fluid design, focus on typography, especially body text and headings, content containers and margins, and key content areas like hero sections. And these elements typically work better with breakpoints. Header navigation, complex layout shifts like 2 columns to 1 column, and gallery layouts. The best approach combines both methods. Start with fluid foundations for typography and spacing, and layer breakpoints on top only where needed and for major layout shifts. After 10 plus years of responsive design, I've learned the goal isn't pixel perfection at specific breakpoints. It's creating designs that feel intentional at every size. Speaking of perfection, next up I'll show you how to create an effective color palette for your website, and why those colors might look completely different to mostly everyone viewing them.